They spent years laughing at my childish hobby, until one TV interview made the entire family go silent. My family thought my life was a joke for almost 10 years because while my cousins were becoming lawyers, nurses, and accountants, I spent most of my 20s locked in my apartment staring at computer screens playing games according to everyone around me. And honestly, I understood why it looked ridiculous from the outside because I barely talked about what I actually did. Mostly because every time I tried explaining game development or online business models to my family, their eyes glazed over before someone inevitably made a joke about me needing to grow up. And my uncle especially loved humiliating me at family events because his son Tyler worked in corporate finance and represented everything traditional success was supposed to look like, while I showed up wearing hoodies, sleeping irregular hours, and talking about servers, coding, and player analytics like any of that meant something to people who still printed their emails, and eventually the entire family just accepted the idea that I was wasting my life chasing childish internet dreams while Tyler became the golden example everyone compared me to. And honestly, the comparisons stopped bothering me after a while because deep down I knew something they didn't. The small indie game company I started with 2 online friends was quietly exploding behind the scenes, but we operated anonymously online and avoided publicity because investors preferred keeping our identities private until several major deals finalized. So while my relatives mocked me for playing games, our company was generating more revenue than most businesses in our city. And everything finally came crashing together during my grandmother's 80th birthday party because naturally Tyler spent the entire dinner bragging about a huge investment deal his firm was helping close with a rising tech company in the gaming industry. And every relative acted impressed while he explained how the company's founders were probably socially awkward nerds who got lucky, which honestly almost made me laugh considering he was unknowingly describing me to my face. But then Tyler started taking shots directly at me saying maybe he could eventually get me an entry-level office job once I got tired of pretending gaming was a career. And the whole table laughed while my mother gave me that exhausted look like she was embarrassed on my behalf, and I probably would have ignored it like always if Tyler hadn't added, at some point you have to stop escaping into fantasy worlds and become a real adult. Because hearing that after spending years secretly building something bigger than anyone at the table could imagine just flipped some switch inside me. But before I could even respond, my uncle suddenly turned the TV volume up because the business news channel had started covering the exact gaming acquisition Tyler's firm was involved in. And everyone went quiet watching the segment until the reporter announced that one of the largest entertainment corporations in the world was purchasing a majority stake in the gaming company for nearly $1.8 billion. And then came the moment I will probably remember for the rest of my life, because the screen suddenly switched to an interview filmed earlier that week showing me walking through our studio explaining the future of interactive gaming technology while my full name appeared across the bottom of the screen as founder and CEO. And I swear the silence in that dining room felt physically heavy because my entire family just stared at the television like they'd accidentally seen a ghost, while Tyler slowly looked back and forth between me and the screen trying to process what he was seeing. And honestly, the craziest part was my grandmother smiling before anyone else reacted because apparently she was the only person who ever actually listened when I talked about my work. And then the reporter mentioned the estimated value of my personal ownership stake in the company. And suddenly the same relatives who spent years treating me like an irresponsible child looked genuinely stunned realizing the video game loser at the end of the dinner table was now worth more money than everyone else in the family combined. And Tyler actually laughed nervously before asking why I never told anyone. But the truth came out before I could stop it because my mother quietly answered for me saying,